Over his 70-year career, this legendary producer worked with artists ranging from Leslie Gore
to Frank Sinatra
and Michael Jackson.
Who was it? Find out next on Sarah's Wiki Corner podcast.
It is time for Sarah's Wiki Corner, brought to you by Niblack Foods in the Genesee Valley Regional Market. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello. What are we learning about today on your Wiki Corner?
Well, we had some sad news this morning that Quincy Jones passed away
Saw that.
at the age of 91.
My golly.
Yeah,
Golly.
what a career
You're
he
not
had.
kidding.
Yeah. So he was an American record producer, songwriter, composer, arranger, and producer
My
with a
gosh.
career spanning 70 years.
It's a long time.
He won 28 Grammy Awards out of 80 nominations and also a Grammy Legend Award in 1992.
Oh.
Jones came to prominence in the 1950s as a jazz arranger and conductor before working on pop music and film scores. He moved easily between genres, producing pop hit records for Leslie Gore in the early 1960s, including It's My Party, and serving as an arranger and conductor for several collaborations between Frank Sinatra and Count Basie.
Wow.
So really spanned the gamut there.
Leslie Gore to Frank Sinatra
And Count Basie.
and Count Basie, yeah.
Jones is one of the few producers to have #1 records in 3 consecutive decades. So the 60s, 70s, and 80s, he had #1 records
My
those
golly.
years. Yeah. In 1968, Jones became the first African American to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song for The Eyes of Love from the film Banning. Jones was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Score for his work on the 1967 film In Cold Blood, making him the first African American to be nominated twice in the same year. And he was the first African American to be the musical director and conductor of the Academy Awards in 1971.
My gosh, there's a picture that we're scrolling on the screen here, if you're watching on the stream, where he's holding just armfuls of awards.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Starting in the 1960s, he composed more than 35 film scores. Jones' work on the soundtrack for The Wiz led to his partnership with Michael Jackson. Jackson had asked Jones to recommend some producers for his upcoming solo album. Jones gave him some names, but eventually offered to produce the record himself. Jackson accepted, and the resulting record, Off the Wall, sold about 20 million copies. This made Jones the most powerful record producer in the industry at that time. Their next collaboration, Thriller, little album called Thriller,
I heard of that.
sold 65 million copies and became the highest-selling album of all time. And then Jones also worked on Michael Jackson's album Bad, which sold 45 million copies, and that was the last time that they worked with each other. But 3 huge records. Yeah.
Yes, huge. Some of the hugest.
In addition to scoring movies, Jones composed the theme songs for the TV shows Sanford and Son, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Ironsides. Marking Jones'
Wow.
debut as a film producer, 1985's The Color Purple received 11 Oscar nominations that year, including one for Jones's score. And through this movie, Jones is credited with introducing Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey to film audiences around the world.
Well,
So
there you go.
Thank you, Quincy Jones, for that. Right?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, big time.
Yes. After the 1985 American Music Awards ceremony, Jones used his influence to draw most of the major American recording artists of the day into a studio to record the song We Are the World
Oh, yeah.
to raise money for the victims of famine in Ethiopia. When people marveled at his ability to make the collaboration work, Jones explained that he had taped a sign on the entrance reading, "Check your ego at the door." Yeah. He was also quoted as saying, "We don't want to make a hunger record in tuxedos," requiring all participants to wear casual clothing in the studio.
And they just come from an award show
Yeah.
that night,
The American
so,
Music Awards.
Yeah, so they just changed.
Yeah.
It's a great documentary on that, by the way.
Yeah. In 1974, Jones developed a life-threatening brain aneurysm, leading to a decision to reduce his workload and spend time with his friends and family. Since his friends and family believed Jones' life was coming to an end, they started to plan a memorial service for him, and he attended his own memorial service back then in 1974
Wow.
with his neurologist by his side in case the excitement overwhelmed him.
Oh.
Some of the entertainers at that service were Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye, Sarah Vaughan, and Sidney Poitier.
Oh, wow.
So
Hope they said nice things.
I'm sure they did. I mean, he was sitting right there, so
Yeah,
could he
right.
not, right?
Right.
Jones was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013, and he was named one of the most influential jazz musicians of the 20th century by Time magazine.
Well, there you go. Quite a
Yeah.
life, quite a career. 91? 91 years old?
91 years old, yeah.
91 years old. And passed away earlier. Was it earlier today?
I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You picked out a record to go along with Quincy Jones, did you, Sarah?
Yeah, so we're going to play a song by Quincy Jones and his orchestra, Oh Happy Day.
Oh, Happy Day. Well, good. Sarah, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
A jazzy little number
I know, I love it.
from Quincy Jones. The Wiki Corner today brought to you by Niblack Foods in the Genesee Valley Regional Market. I think we mentioned that earlier, but we were
did.
actually out at Niblack Foods earlier today.
We were, and we always talk about how the staff there is so friendly and knowledgeable, and they're always happy to make recommendations. Well, I did just that today. I asked Eric over there, I said, what's good with venison? What do you recommend to season venison?
Sure.
And so he took me right over to one of the aisles. He gave me some juniper berries, which I've never used before, but I'm excited to try.
Super.
And some salt that's seasoned with a bunch of herbs, I guess. And then he told me exactly what to do, how to cook it, what to do with it. And it was amazing. So I'm excited to try that out.
Yeah. We also got a glimpse of the ingredients for fruitcake.
Oh, yes. He said that the holiday, people are getting ready for holiday baking, and they have a lot of different, if you're looking to make fruitcake, they've got all the supplies you need for that.
And it sounds like we're making a joke, but we're not.
No, we're not.
People love
It's a very serious
to bake
thing.
fruitcake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very good.
Who knew?
Yeah. Hey, I watched a documentary on, was it on Netflix? It was on Milli Vanilli.
Oh.
Have you seen this?
No.
I don't know how new it is or how old it is, but Milli Vanilli was very popular. Was it 1989, 1990?
Something like that.
And the story is pretty wild. It's a pretty great.
Is it good?
It's a very interesting documentary.
Do you see there's one about Martha Stewart?
No, I didn't see that.
There's a new one about Martha Stewart on Netflix, and I'm very interested to watch that because
I would be curious to see that too.
Yeah, just because when you think about, I don't know, like I always forget that she was in jail. Like I forget that she went to jail.
She did.
And now look at her. She's like besties with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Yeah, both of them have really come a long way.
Yeah.
From where they started.
But it looks like I watched like the little preview of it, and it looks pretty interesting. So I want to watch that at some point.
Yeah, the Milli Vanilli documentary. I like the music of Milli Vanilli. Like it's very obviously of the era.
Oh yeah,
sure. It's fascinating how they came about, and they kind of got pulled into it. They signed a contract. They got stuck, and they kind of had to go along with this. So it wasn't like
their idea.
No, there was a producer, much like Quincy Jones.
But not Quincy Jones.
Where was he from? Holland? He was from Europe. And he kind of created Boney M, and then he created this group, and he found the vocalists, the backup singers, and he told them all they couldn't say anything about whatever, and he paid them. And the record did way better than they thought it was going to. It's a really interesting documentary. It's about 90 minutes long, if you're interested. Milli Vanilli. So anyway, all right. Are you ready to go here?
Yes.
And jump back into it. Stand by. Legends 102.7, the biggest hits in the history of the world. Mr. Quincy Jones and his orchestra. Oh, happy day. Sarah, do remind us, why did we just play that record?
Well, because we were talking about Quincy Jones.
Yes.
He passed away yesterday at the age of 91.
Yes, a sad day. A sad day. Let's recap 3 things we must take away from today's Wiki Corner. Are you ready?
Ready.
Go.
All right. Quincy Jones' career spanned 70 years.
He composed more than 35 film scores.
And he is one of the few producers with #1 records in 3 consecutive decades.
It makes you wonder, because I always think of Quincy Jones as working with Michael Jackson, because that was kind of like the big artist in my era. I mean, there's a few bigger than Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder how much does the producer make an impact on the artist and on the record. So if Michael Jackson had ended up going with one of those other producers that Quincy Jones had recommended to him, how would Thriller, how would Off the Wall, how would those have turned out? And how much of it was Michael Jackson, and how much of it was the input from the thing?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just
interesting to think about.
Don't know much about music, but curious about that. Folks want to learn more about Quincy Jones. Sarah, where do they go? What do they do?
Well, you can go to my Wiki blog. If you go to legends1027.com on the homepage, there's a link that takes you to my blog where I post everything I talk about every day.
And you can always watch this unfold on Facebook, Facebook Live. Go to facebook.com/legends1027 every day at 4:10. You'll watch it unfold live, and you can comment and interact that way. And you can catch the archives. Those go up at YouTube. You can search Sarah's Wiki Corner and catch them all there. Brought to you by our friends at Niblack Foods in the Genesee Valley Regional Market. All All right, wonderful. You have a great rest of your day, okay,
You
Sarah? You have a flashlight to find your way out to your car tonight?
No, right?
It's getting dark. All right, very good. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, traffic and weather on the way. We've got some Supertramp, we got the Stones, and more of your favorites straight ahead on Legends 102.7, playing the biggest hits in the history of the world.